But our next storyteller he became an American citizen only a couple of years ago as well. Give him a round of applause. Jitesh Jaggi is an immigrant storyteller, poet, and dancer from India. A 5-time Mod Slam winner, most of those times he beat me. He has taught storytelling workshops for the World Health Organization and the University of Chicago, among others. His stories were recently played on NPR's The More Radio Hour and WGN-TV's Daytime Chicago show. Jitesh's one-man show, Suitcase Stories, played to a sold-out audience at the Steppenwolf Theater in 2023 and the Second City in 2024. Welcome, Jitesh. You must say hi, right? About a little bit taller than me. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Nestor. I actually got my citizenship on February 14th. Or as I tell my friends, I made sweet, sweet love to America. Cool, friends. A literary event in the back room of a brewery. That's the rogue academia vibe I like. Oh, yeah. I'll take a walk. Do not threaten. I'm trying to procrastinate as much as I can. Like, I do not care about these comments. Okay, no, never mind. I got this. Okay. I started my career in finance in the middle of the global financial crisis of 2008. Which is like ordering your first beer ever during a bar fight. I was 20 years old and the environment of an investment bank seemed very glamorous and sexy. Until I actually sat down and was explained my work, turns out it was a glorified form of data entry. So even as an underpaid investment banker, I was still an overpaid typist. So I sort of did that for 7 years. I thought, why not give it a chance? And the prime years of my youth, my job title was called an analyst, on the lines of how you could call a butter knife a weapon. There was nothing to analyze except what was I doing with my life. But bills were paid, and I made some decent progress. At my first job, I was promoted to an auditor, another meaningless role. And once they even gave me recognition as the employee of the month, which is the corporate speak for, who's a good boy, who's a good boy. Thinking I had no other options, I persevered, hopped from an investment bank to another for better salary slips, and the work just kept getting more and more absurd. Non-existent English words like collateralized debt obligations were thrown around like yuppie traps. That's when I realized numbers, not words, had any meaning here. But words meant a lot to me. These years of mindless drudgery taught me how to derive satisfaction from art when your work falls short. I discovered a love for reading. Now, reading for leisure was not a thing from where I come from, a refugee camp in Bombay. In my home, a book was either a textbook or wrapping paper for Indian street food. I had to fall in love with an English major to be introduced to good books. My then girlfriend would lend me a book every week. So, every week at work, I would slip a book right inside my shirt while sitting at my desk, then sneak into the bathroom and spend half an hour reading on the toilet. On a good day, through a thin white shirt, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, clearly visible across my belly. This is the book that changed my life. Now, it doesn't have a cover because It could be any book. The point wasn't this particular book in itself. The point was that I could finally see a way out. An alternative existed for the first time, something that appealed to me and beckoned my labor. It just happened to be the Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now I know this whole essay sounds like one of those book clubs where nobody actually reads the book, and it's just an excuse to drink red wine on a Sunday afternoon, but I did, and I memorized entire passages from it. What it did for me, however, is gave me an appreciation for something far greater than Wilde's acerbic prose. It gave me permission to be witty and that humor is a legitimate way of processing grief. It gave me permission to dig under the surface and unearth my understanding of human behavior. It gave me permission to express my gender expression as I chose fit. It showed me that art can be created for its own sake. At work, there was no avenue for me to practice this new art of writing, so I created my own avenues. My business emails now read like short stories. I even wrote the minutes of the meeting with a dramatic flourish. Leaning over the conference room table, the operations manager, perplexed, chided everyone that we cannot waste so much of our budget on coffee pods. A few years later, I quit my job before they got a chance to fire me and went on to become a storyteller. Wrote my first solo show 2 years ago and performed it on many stages like Second City and Steppenwolf, and one time at that one skate park under the highway in Logan Square. All because there was a precedent of people who had a story to share and did not hold themselves back from sharing it. Now, the original manuscript for The Picture of Dorian Gray was written by Wilde in 1890. But the first uncensored typescript for that book was only released in 2011. There were passages deemed too sexual and inappropriate until 2011. 2011 just happens to be the year that I first read that book. So the same year, both Wilde and an awkward boy in Mumbai got liberated. Wilde in his grave, the boy sitting on a toilet inside a bank. 2011 finally gave them both the opportunity to really show up as who they really are, storytellers. All I had in terms of access to Wilde was his writing, this book that I was reading in my fourth language, English. And he still touched me. The book, weighing no more than 6 ounces, changed the course of my life and the trajectory of my career and how I connect with people on a daily basis. I will end this with a quote from the book. Live the wonderful life that is in you. Let nothing be lost upon you. Be always searching for new sensations. Be afraid of nothing.